Good evening. It is 7:45 in the evening. Let's get you a closer look at these parts. I'm using HD. I'm going to try to keep this short. I'm going to run this through Sony Movie Studio 13. The MTS files seem to work better in that, although I've had it go crazy in that too, but not as bad as Windows Movie Maker. With this camera here, I'll be able to give you some close-ups. Now, I don't know why, I just grabbed a bunch of stuff, and I didn't know, but the guy, everything on that table was $50, and then he came down to $40 after I bought these 2 boxes of things, $5 each. Now, as you saw in that video, there was a lot of circuit boards and stuff. Now, back in the 60s and 70s, I would have scoffed those up, because I can work with that small stuff, but the leads on those things are really, really short, and they're not much good for anything. Here are some LEDs. These are very small LEDs with 2 prongs on them. I don't know why I bothered with these, but I didn't have my reading glasses with me, so I couldn't really see these things too good. But let me see if I can get a close-up in my hand here. And I don't know if it's in focus. But you can see they got 2 little pins on them. And I guess they go into a circuit board. You see them a little better here. There's only a number on them and a company name. And a part number up here. Over here we have a darker green one, but they're the same things in a small package. They're darker green, and I'm off camera as always. Same thing, the same funny looking things. I have no idea what these are for, what they go into, and I really don't have any use for them. Now here are some more LEDs that look like they go into something, kind of a plug or something they got on them. They probably go into a circuit board also. So I really don't have a need for those because I don't like the way the mountings are. Now here we've got an Amaron relay. Give you a good look at that. Five terminals on the back. 3 on the left side and 2 on the right. It don't say where the coil is though, and it's a 24-volt coil, so they're not going to do me any good either. But they're brand new. I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 of these jobs, okay? Now, I have 2 different kinds of LEDs here. And as you can see, they're marked with a plus. Get my hand there, maybe it'll focus better. Marked with a plus on the right, on the red wire side. I put a 1.5 volt battery on these leads, and it just barely lit. So I don't know what the voltage is, and I'm hoping that there is a dropping resistor in here. I was kind of hoping there'd be the 110 volt AC LEDs like I've got in my ICO equipment as pilot lights that I've got off of eBay. These are smaller in diameter than these over here. Like on my ICO 324, you can see the size difference. These I've got off of eBay. I think it was 8 of them for like $12 or $15 or something like that. They're LEDs with a resistor in the container, but they also have a diode in there, and so it rectifies. So these I think are just straight DC, but I don't know if they have a resistor in there. You can't. I don't think there's any way of testing. It is a diode, so I might be able to test them with the leads and see if I get a reading higher than a diode would be. And that would tell me that it's got a resistor in there. So I've got these, which there's no voltage markings on them. We'll get a lot of magnification here. That's the only number that's on them. No name on them. Okay, but on these are a little different. These are a little different. Let me get a better one here that's got some more writing on. Trying to find you a good one here that I can. Some of them are really faint and hard to read. And it seems like I'm running into. Okay, here is one here. Looks like 26 volts. I don't think it's 2.6. And as you can see, they have like 2 terminals separated by an insulator, and you can just push terminals on. They had a box with the circuit boards, and on the bottom they had all these connectors brand new. They had maybe a couple dozen. I should have scooped them up and threw them in the other box here. But it was an afterthought. Now here's another one. I can't tell if that's upside down. My reading glasses don't magnify that much. But anyways, as you can plainly see, I've got a lot of these LEDs. More than I'll ever use. And another one of these funny looking green LEDs, light green. Okay, now I got these 2-inch speakers. Looks like 11 of them there. And some of them are pretty stiff. None of them are really what you call compliant. So they're going to be sounding real tinny. But these are all brand new. And let me see if I can get one in here so you can see what the ratings are on it if you can. 8 ohms, 0.2 of a watt. Okay. Alright, so we got those. Now we'll move on here because this video is getting too long. Alright, let's get a closer look at this meter panel here. Apparently, it's supposed to go to a power supply of some sort. You can see the double pole, double throw switches in like mint condition, never used. There's another one over here. And these are the LEDs and the meters. The amp meter has DC amperes. It says add an external shunt. You may... No, I'm on the wrong meter here. Well, it does say that. Take my word for it. It does say it. It's way down there. So, anyways, that's that. And then we've got this board here. N3055 on a heatsink. That's something I don't have very much of, if any. I don't have any heat sinks. So that's why I picked this board out. 2 N3055s. On small heat sinks. It looks like the ICs are in... Let me find out if I can get in camera here. In sockets. Alright, but they had a lot of boards, and you know how these circuit boards are. Everything's down very close. The leads are so short, you can't really use the components at all. They're just way too short. So that's why I passed on all those circuit boards that are there. And this is a brand new unused terminal strip. And some nice wire, as you saw. And it looks like 1/4-inch shaft. One, two, and 3 more in this package here. A new heavy-duty panel fuse holder. Sprig. No, Mallory. 0.47. Oh, 600 volts. I thought it was 400. That's what I said at the flea market. Well, you know, I'm lucky to be able to see it all. 100 ohm. I used to have several of these type of resistors, different resistances in my shop, but I got rid of them like everything else. That's a 50 watter. Let's see. It's the same thing. 100 ohm 50 watt. Okay, so and another hank of thinner wire. So get all this back in there. I have to be selective what I can take because the shop is very, very small. We'll put this in here for now, and I'll go sorting it out, and small stuff I'll put in drawers and stuff like that. Alright. I would like to maybe fire this up. See if I can get some life out of it, to see if there is any life in it. The guy said it worked, but you know, that doesn't always mean anything. For $5 I wasn't going to complain. Alright, let me give you a little, listen, maybe I can do it right here. Kelly WH822 All right, let's get you close here. That's one thing about this camera. It does a good job. Try to get it straight here. And the only complaint is the MTS format. So, as you can plainly see, it looks nice in there. So what I'm going to try to do, maybe put some clip leads on it from my power supply, because I got to clean the contacts on this. I believe it takes 4 AA's. And I hope you can still see that. Alright. These are little tubes that you put the battery in. But we're not going to do that right now. Let's get my little screwdriver so I can get this thing out. Yeah, there's a little corrosion right here. And can't seem to get it in camera here. This is why I have a problem working with microscope cameras. Everything, anyways, it's over here. You can't really see it. So now what we're going to do, it takes penlight batteries. Please install penlight batteries as indicated. So, yeah, there's a lot of corrosion there. Now, they're showing the positive. They're showing the positive going all one direction. We've noticed 4 batteries. And that can't be, because they got to go in series. Over here, we've got a positive and what looks like a negative lead, and this could be jumpered out. In other words, this could be continuous, but it must be maybe it's 3 volts in parallel. I'll tell you why. You can always tell a negative terminal of a battery holder because the spring is always on the negative side, and there's no springs on this side. So it comes right out. That's plastic, and it's not brittle. Okay, 2 springs tells me that that's the negative side, and 2 flat contacts tells me that that's the positive side. But if you look down below the earphone jack, it looks like a black wire running. Although it's connected to the earphone jack, it could be the common negative also. So I don't want to put anything on this that will damage it. I could probably put 3 volts on this, put the negative here. We'll probably do that. Not 3 volts. Yeah, 3 volts. 3 volts. And see if I get anything with 3 volts. We can't hurt it with that. We know the positive goes here because here's the red wire. And we know that these are negative. The question is the bottom one negative even though it's a spring? Because if this runs on 6 volts and it takes 4 AA's, they're either in series for 6 volts or they're in parallel for 3 volts. Let's see. All right, we've got the power supply set for 3 volts, not 6. And these are cheap leads. These are cheap Chinese leads. I have good leads. I don't use the lousy cheap ones, but I might have to get my good leads out because this thing is not going to clip. I have more trouble with these things working right. Now, hang on a minute. I'm going to put regular clip leads on. I hate them things. They don't work. It's a cheap garbage I bought from eBay when I first started my shop. I should know not to buy those things. Every one of them I got are junk. That's why you don't see me use them. Good old clip leads. Now this is a light duty set that came from that B&K 1 amp power supply that I got off the flea market last year for 10 bucks. So we're in the positive here. What we'll do is find the on and off switch here. Volume all the way up. I didn't hear anything when I put the power to it. Of course I got the AC running too. I don't hear anything. One thing good about these clips, when they go on, you know. Well, I don't want to put 6 volts on it. The guy said it works, but I don't believe it does. Now this is too cramped for me to work on, so I won't even attempt to try to repair this. I was never any good at this stuff. Even when I had good eyesight, it's just too small. If I could spot a break in the board or something, I usually can fix it. Now there could be the headphones too. There's two jacks here. I don't even know if I'm in camera because I cannot see the viewfinder where I'm sitting. Alright, there's two jacks over here. Okay, and it could be a fault in the jack. I just don't have the eyes to work on this stuff. But for $5 I couldn't let it sit there. The guy said take it. He told me, he says I told you 10 last week. Well, I wasn't there last week. It was hot and humid. I haven't been in a few weeks. But yes, I remember him saying he wanted 10 for it, and I passed on it. So he remembers me. And he says, let's get it out of the hot sun, he says. Give me 5 for it. I couldn't pass it up. So it's worth that. But I don't want to... I'm not drawing any current. Let me get you up on the meter here. You may not be able to see that, but I'm standing up here. I'm going to try to... Not drawing any current at all. Nothing. So, let's try it down at the other negative terminal here. There's a lot of corrosion, so it could very well be. Now, there's no way that those batteries can be going in this one direction. I would say this has got to be 6 volts. So, what I'm going to try to do, get you back down here. I'm going to try to put the negative and positives on the top on these 2 flat terminals, negatives on the bottom. It don't make sense though. It don't make sense the way that battery connector is. The battery, it's not telling you to put 4 in there, but it has 2 holders. So it's got to hold 2. Yeah, 2 AA's. Conveniently, I don't have a AA handy by, it figures. So, I really don't know. I don't want to blow the thing out. The problem is the stuff is so small for me to see. I can't get this out. It's rigid. It's a part of the chassis probably. It needs to be cleaned. And off camera, I'm going to take a meter reading between here and here. Well, this video is getting too long again. This is why I should not have... I use this camera because I can get good focus and zoom in without it being out of focus. Hang on a minute. Let me just see if I can take a reading of that spring connector there. Well, I've got spring clips on, clip leads right on the springs themselves, so they dug right into it. I'm getting 4.92 ohms. Megohms, I'm sorry. 4.92 megohms. So the radio is turned off. Now the radio is turned on. No change. So that's either open which could very well be because of the corrosion. Or we've got some other problems here. So they're not jumpered, because I can't see in there. I just cannot see in there. It's just too hard. And I really don't want to pull this out of the cabinet. Doug don't like deoxit. I swear by it. You know, it wasn't too many years ago that I say, no way, Jose, because it's too damn expensive. But it works. We just spray a little bit in the volume control and switch. Works a lot easier. All right. I'll tell you what, this is way too damn small for me to work on. There's some screws in here, and I just gave them a half a turn just to see if the chassis would get loosened up, and it... nothing. I'm not going to attempt it. I'm not going to ruin it. That seems to hold a loop stick, so I'm not going to mess around with it. I don't know how I'd get this out. I'm not going to try it and break it. It seems to be, I guess I'm still on camera. It seems to be, you see the tuning capacitor is moving and the rest of it isn't. I didn't loosen anything up here. Boy, I wouldn't want to have to string this dial cord. It does work, but that's one of the things I tried right away, is when I was looking at it, make sure that the dial works. I'm not going to attempt to take this apart. I've worked on a lot of transistor radios, but never this congested. It's just too confined. There's a screw deep down in there, and I tried loosening that, and that did nothing. No. No. This is what I say about transistor stuff. It's too tiny. Too tiny for me to work on. I won't attempt it because I'm going to ruin it. I know I will ruin it. A man's got to know his limitations. Clint Eastwood said that on his Dirty Harry movies. That's a great series. Okay, what I did is I cleaned the battery contacts. I did this after I shut the camera down, so I figured I'd come back and the radio's working. Not very good, but it is working. Apparently these batteries are in parallel as far as I can tell. They go in these little sleeves here, and you just put the cap on. The springs have to go to the negative. Now if they're in parallel, I took it out, the radio stopped. When I put it in, I'm just touching the tuning capacity here. So I won't have to pull this out of the case. Now, let's see if I can get that out now. Yeah. Alright, I cleaned the contacts using deoxit and then this very fine emery, off camera, vine emery paper, and I just went on the springs over here and over here on these other contacts. There's still corrosion here on the solder connection, but the radio is working. Now, it will only work with both these batteries in here, even though they're set for what looks like parallel, because normally you'd want the positives of two batteries going this way and then the positives of the next two batteries going this way to give you 6 volts. So if this is running on 3 volts, it should be working now, but it will not until I put the second battery in. The volume's all the way up. It's not very sensitive. It must be. That's the short wave. Well, these are fresh batteries. These are alkaline I just put in. So, probably needs capacitors, but I'm not tackling this job, I'll tell you that much. But anyways, I did want to jump back in here and let you know that it did come to life after cleaning it up. But apparently it needs both batteries in parallel. That's the way I read it. I could be wrong, but if both negatives are on one end, it's got to be parallel. I can't think of any. How can you possibly put batteries in series? It would stand to reason that this radio would work on 6 volts and not 3. All I know is it needs all 4 batteries in parallel to work. Okay, so I'm going to play around with this a little bit before I finish this video out, and I'll do that off camera. Little deoxide, that's all it took. Little deoxide on the selector switch right here. It don't seem to be doing anything on shortwave though. But it came to life as soon as I sprayed the deoxide and worked the switches around. I don't know if that's an antenna for the shortwave or not. Yep, good old deoxide, boy. I'll tell you, I swear by it, that stuff works. The battery connectors are loose though.
They're fairly good. Yeah, would you love to have that dynamic and that's an artificial thing, which at some...
No, will have to be cold.
For the mailers, it may be an option, yes.
So that's all it was. Is this switch was bad. Dirty. But I'm still not getting short wave in here. I think it needs to be recapped, but I'm not going to deal with that, of course. Alright, this is definitely the end of the video. So, We're going to shut things down now, and we're going in the house and put this video together. Thanks for watching. Be more videos to come, so don't go away.